left-hand side, if you're a company like a network or a system operator, you can't see many of these new assets, let alone ask them to adjust how they're using the system. All these new connecting assets that could increase system efficiency and resilience are actually making your job more complex and are challenging these same two things, resilience and cost efficiency. Whereas on the right hand, these new energy assets and their traders are completely missing out the opportunity to make the revenues that they could make. And in some cases, that means they don't even get built. So value seeps out all over the place because of approaches like this. The one I want to highlight here, because it's so obviously avoidable, are things like renewable curtailment. This is renewables being turned off because there isn't enough local demand or grid capacity to take it. No signals are being sent for parties nearby to be paid to use that power. So Electron's solution then is a marketplace infrastructure that enables these granular market-based interactions. It lets companies like network operators, municipal suppliers, and what have you, to co-create local markets and interact with these assets. Our platform is indifferent as to who the market operator is, what the product that's being traded is, but it does enable these markets to be defined in relation to one another, to be coordinated, and to operate across multiple timeframes. Ultimately, it puts market creation in the hands of the party who needs these new products. It enables a completely new model of transaction across the grid. So this is monetized in one of two ways or a combination of both. The first option is Electron creates and operates this market and charges a fee per trade. This is suitable for markets where there are many different types of buyers and sellers, like the curtailment market, which is the first example I'll give shortly. And the second really comes from the IT budget. It's more of an annual subscription basis where Electron is the platform provider for another market operator. And this makes a lot of sense for one-to-many markets, things like demand response, which is the second example I'll give. So the first example, curtailment markets. This is a market that is live in the UK. We took it live in March, where a bunch of different renewable generators, here wind, who are being cut off in the market because there isn't enough grid capacity to take them, can post prices that they would pay to local flexibility to give them network space. We've currently got 140 electric heaters here, trading with 2 wind farms and growing. And the second example then is a platform we're providing as a service. Here, this is a project done with London Hydro in Canada, where we are essentially providing a platform to replace an existing demand response program. And the platform lets them interact with their own customers in a more granular way, call location, call volume, and things like that. So our IP has been developed across 8 utility projects. We've raised 3 million in project fees, 4 million in funding so far, another 1 million in project fees already secured, and we have pretty good pipeline visibility. This is a slow cycle SaaS company. That's one of the advantages. We've been able to do this because of our amazing team. They come from leading utilities and fintech 500 companies. We have big expertise in developing local flexibility market design and running out global electronic trading platforms, which my co-founder's done twice. Electron's now raising £5 million to grow our UK curtailment marketplaces into new areas and to expand our platform as a service operating in OECD markets. Growing at about 2 new marketplaces, about 3 new a year, leads to a revenue of about 11 million in 2023, which is what we're targeting for this round. And that's it from me. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jojo, for an insightful presentation. So the judges, you have 5 minutes for questions now.
Yeah,
I have a question. Sorry, you can go ahead.
Yeah, this is He from SK. I think I've seen your solution before.
Oh, sorry, He, I can't hear you.
Okay, Julia, do you want to go first?
So Jojo, very, very good and clear presentation. So my question would be, so flexibility and curtailment markets are typically a task of DSOs and TSOs who have large software teams working on the energy system of the future. So what do you believe is the main barrier for them to build this themselves and contract Electron? So what's the main complexity or technology that you add to what they can build themselves?
Thanks, Julia. Great question. So from what we're seeing, building markets is a completely new skill for a lot of the DSOs and TSOs we're speaking to. They're looking for a number of different things like, as you say, electronic trading platform expertise, which isn't naturally something that they've had. And I think they're looking at options to build up that whole expertise themselves or to go for something that's already tried and tested and that's in the market, and they're asking for funding again from regulators for that. And is it more efficient for the regulators to fund them to all do their own different solutions, or to pick a PaaS provider. I think the other reason they're choosing companies like us is there is increasing need amongst more mature flexibility markets to coordinate at a national and local level. So you really need a solution where you can see if an energy asset is providing like a local constraint service or a national balancing service. And the best example of that is in the Orkney Islands, which we've got operating. We're going to be taking the national product live in the first quarter of next year. We're essentially allowing assets that are on that active network management system to respond to national balancing issues, but we're able to communicate to the local market and the local active network management platform to make sure that that asset or that action isn't going to be overruled by the local system saying, oh, great, there's space on the network, let's bring more power on. So I think it's repeatability and I think it's coordination with other markets.
Thanks. Do you want to try again to ask your question?
Sorry, see if I can hear you this time.
Yeah, can you hear me this time?
Yes, yeah. You're great.
Okay, good. So how would you categorize your solution? Is it an aggregator of demand response, or is it more towards virtual power plant, or is it peer-to-peer trading kind of a solution? Where would you put yourself in?
That's a great question. Thank you. So we put ourselves in the PaaS category. We're not a virtual power plant or an aggregator in that we do not get customers or make trading decisions for the customers. We're essentially the neutral market platform. So that's something we can either operate as a neutral market operator, as in the case in the UK, or it's something we can provide as a service to, let's say, a DSO who wants to run their own marketplace.
Just to clarify, this is Ashwin. Quick question. Are you able to connect to both behind the meter and front of the meter assets and distributed assets in general, or is it just front of the meter assets?
Great question. So absolutely both. But the assets that are able to participate in the market is up to the rule of the market operator themselves. So, for example, for Orkney, we're able to, and we are connecting to behind the meter assets because the marketplace allows for that level of aggregation. But there's another demand response market, for example, that we're working on that only wants in front of the meter or 30-minute metered assets, but the way that our platform works is it works on the same sort of reusable asset register. So it's able to check the qualifications of the assets as they sign up for those markets and check where it is behind the meter and how it's metered, for example.
You may want to start thinking about the US market. The FERC just announced a pretty big ruling around aggregation.
We're really excited about FERC 2222. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe we can catch up on that afterwards if you're interested.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. So we are moving.
And actually, sorry.
Yes, your time is up, but please go ahead. The last comment.
Sorry, I was going to say, and actually, EU's done a similarly kind of pro-markets move, with they're requiring, with the electricity market directive, that they're requiring all DSOs over a certain size to procure flexibility services first, as of January 2021. So there's a lot of movement in this space.
Great. Thank you, Jojo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jojo, and the judges for the questions. So we are moving on with our second startup. And the second startup is called FlexiDAO. So FlexiDAO will be represented by their CEO, Simon Acornero, straight out of Spain. So, Simon, are you with us?
Hello?
Hi, hello.
Hi, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you very well, and your time starts now. So put up that presentation.
Yes. Can you see the presentation? Everything good?
Yes, all good.
Okay, thanks a lot. So yeah, thanks a lot for accepting us to the final. And to get started with my pitch, I thought first of all I would like to talk about our customer, Sara. Sara is the energy and sustainability manager of a large international supermarket chain, And together with her company, she sets clear carbon emission reduction targets for 2030 and a 10-year plan on how to get there. This means that Sarah and her team need to collect evidence, data to monitor the evolution of this plan and also take decisions on how achieve those targets in the most cost-effective way. But then the problem is that Sarah's team needs to rely on this tool here on the screen. This is effectively what our renewable energy certificate looks like today in Europe and pretty much all over the world. And the problem with this is that, as you can see, it provides very little information. But except for that, the problem is even before then that Sarah's team needs to manually collect all the certificates for each single consumption point all over the world from each energy supplier that they have and source electricity to them. And after they do this, they get a certificate that provides very little data, completely disaggregated, very hard to process and to make decisions on. And then for this reason, then Sarah's team always needs to pay and rely on external consultants to make process all of these certificates, audit them, and make sense of this data information in order to enable the reporting towards stakeholders and process and make internal decisions. It's to tackle this problem that at FlexiDAO we've built a platform called Respring. Respring basically is a digital platform that collects highly granularity data on the origin, time, and environmental impact of the energy that corporate consumer buy and consume. The platform then aggregates all of this data into one platform. It completes an automatic audit of all of this data, and then it enables communication towards internal and external stakeholders for Sarah's team. So effectively, this means for Sarah that her team can save time and cost, both for internal operations, but also internal operations. There, it has now data to make data-driven decisions on what are the renewable energy products that would allow them to reduce the most amount of CO2 emissions in the most cost-effective way. And then third, to engage stakeholders transparently, because we live in an era in which environmental sustainability and governance assets in pension funds and investment portfolios are more and more appreciated in value, and they're gaining market traction. So the ability for Sarah's team to clearly and transparently and easily communicate on what its company is doing in this regard is extremely important. And this is effectively why Respring has turned into the global leader in renewable energy tracking. We currently work in 9 countries with several partners ranging from retailers, power producers, and grid operators in order to have all the right integrations and partnerships and data collections to deliver this service to corporates. Right now, there are 24 corporate buyers that are using the platform, and we process more than 3 terawatt-hour of renewable energy consumption per year. With around, right now, it's 190 connected assets to the platform. But then this renewable energy tracking, but more than tracking, is really helping and corporate buyers with the monitoring of the renewable energy procurement is the first step for us into the market. We've been able to be the first startup that actually validates and converts a blockchain-based application from testing to a recurring revenue contract. And in terms of growth and next steps of the company, we are focusing, of course, in scaling up the current platform, Respring, reaching out and signing contracts with more and more corporate consumers. But together with it, we are also one of the founding members of a new standard that aims to standardize a time-based renewable energy certificate in order to provide even more value through our platform to our corporate consumers, and hopefully create a market for a new commodity in the energy sector in the upcoming years. At the same time, thanks leveraging to our traceability technology that in the end is the true enabler of our platform, We're also working on energy sharing in energy communities. So the ability of tracking and managing energy flows across different prosumers and distributed energy within energy communities. And then we're also working with, we have a partnership with an Italian retailer on digitizing the renewable energy procurement through the creation of new products, kind of like micro PPAs. And the idea here is to complement the value that we currently offer to corporate consumers by monitoring the procurement, but then also be able to help them with the procurement of more renewable energy.
Simon, your time is up. This finishes your presentation.
Yes, and then this growth and the success of the company is happening through a very through a team that joins different expertise from different markets, energy, customer facing, very experienced salespeople, and the best-in-class developers when it comes to blockchain decentralized architecture. So thanks a lot for your attention.
Simon, when we say your time is up, your time is really up. Just for a future notice to all the other startups pitching next up. Okay, judges, what do you have to say for this?
I will refrain from asking questions because we're an investor in FlexiDAO.
All right. Hey, it's Ilkka from Valkia. Can you hear me?
Yes, a bit. The connection is a bit bad, but yeah. I'll try my best.
Yeah, it seems there's a long delay, at least on my own video, but I hear you really well. So what I would like to ask really quickly, I mean, the tech stack you're building on.
Yes, so we focus only on we build only the application part. So one of the main benefits of our solution is that it's completely blockchain agnostic. So we rely on the benefits provided by blockchain technology, but we decided strategically not to connect and bind ourselves to any network. So we have built a middle layer that can connect into different blockchain networks, private, hybrid, public. It doesn't matter to us. It creates an environment for corporates to easily implement and deploy our application. So we have already several cases of our application working on the cloud of our customers. So either we host the application or our customer hosts it. So we created this middleware that allows corporations to easily implement, deploy, and run a blockchain-based application. And on top of this environment is where all our applications lie. So that's a bit the stack from a high-level point of view.
Great. I want to ask a question from a customer's perspective. So how do you attract new customers? And is your customer focus more towards CNI customers? And does it only apply to the customers who buy the electricity from your partners? And what is your business model overall?
Yeah, so our customers are corporate consumers. So we interface directly with them, we sell directly to them, and retailers are channels. So in many cases, retailers are interested in our service because it creates a differentiation model for them. It's a competitive advantage when they have to negotiate PPAs. So you could see like an energy management software with an ESCO. So it's a tool that the retailer can use to sell to its own corporate. But in the end, our goal is to talk and serve directly the corporate buyer. And of course, initially, if the corporate buyer is getting sourced by an existing partner, the integration takes less time. But actually, if it's a utility that is not our partner, for us, it's even better because it allows us to grow our network. And in terms of the business model, it's a service. It's a software as a service fee. So it's a monthly fee based per country. So the corporate consumer, depending on how many countries of operations, it pays as a monthly fee.
Two questions for you. This is Ashwin. Are you able to support VPPAs also on your platform?
So we do not focus on virtual power plants, and our focus as a company is not to optimize renewable energy assets. However, we do work with aggregators. For example, one of our customers is TotalFlex, which is the aggregator subsidiary of Total Group, because aggregators see our platform as an added value. They already have a quite varied renewable energy portfolio. And through our platform, they can offer a new service to clients, to CNI clients. So it's not our focus to be an aggregator. It's not even in our strategy. But we do partner with them because they have a very nice and a very nice renewable portfolio usually that fits very well with our platform.
Got it. You actually answered my second question also, so I'm good. Thank you.
No, sorry. Did you ask VPPA or VPP? Did you mean virtual PPA or do you mean virtual power plant?
No, VPPA. Virtual
sorry.
PPA.
Because then when you said it, you answered my second question. Sorry, the connection is bad. Yeah, we work also with virtual PPA. So that's actually when the platform delivers the most value, because in the end, virtual PPA are just a financial product that requires a settlement. So there's both more transparency on the buyer side, because usually the originator can provide only very raw data that it's then hard for the buyer to process and integrate in their internal management. And at the same time, it also, you can see it as a transparency tool for the buyer on how the settlement, so what's the strike price against market price and how fluctuations, and it's a bit of a PPA monitoring as well. But it really can include any kind of product. So currently we have self-production, so we can also connect to behind-the-meter assets. We have physical PPA, off-site self-production, virtual PPA, green tariff. And the only thing that we don't integrate as of now is unbundled certificates, because in that case we cannot have direct access to the origin, so to the data of the production asset.
All right. Thank you so much, Simon, for all your answers, and good luck with the company. So we are moving forward with our contestants. Next up is a startup represented by a fellow Baltic country, and that is Estonia. So please welcome on the virtual stage company called RA Tech and their founder and CFO, Imre Gustav Velema. Are you with us, Imre? Imre Gustav, that's the correct. Okay, cool. Hey, Imre Gustav, we can see you. All right. So, a bit of a glitch there. Imre, we just lost you. Trying to figure out. Yes. Hey, we can see you now. Do you hear us well? We can hear you. Okay. So Imre Gustav, let's proceed with the next startup. We'll leave you the slot later on. So next up is SterBlue, a startup from France, and it will be represented by Geoffrey Van Sassel, who is the CEO at SterBlue. So, Geoffrey, are you with us?
I'm with you. Yes. Hi, everyone.
Great. Cool.
Can I share a presentation or no?
Yes, indeed. We can hear you loud and clear, and you are free to start your presentation.
Because it's not enabled.
What is the problem?
It says to me that the host disabled attendee screen sharing actually, so I cannot share my presentation.
Okay, we are now trying to solve this issue.
Okay, that's good.
Everything should be good. Yes, cool. Go ahead.
Here. Hi everyone, really happy to be here today with you. So my name is Jeffrey Van Kessel, I'm the CEO and co-founder at Stelblue. So at Stelblue, we built the central platform for infrastructure inspections. And sorry. So of course, infrastructure inspections are costly and dangerous. You need to use helicopters, ground-based people, linemen. So this is a really complicated task to perform. But this is necessary. Otherwise, you can have some amazing failure, huge failure in infrastructures, and it can be dangerous for assets and humans. And of course, assets over the world are getting more and more aged. If you have some distribution grid, for example, in the US, which are more than 1 century actually, and almost 1 century, sorry. And so that's something more and more common. And the goal, of course, is to avoid billions in liability. As a quick reminder, so PG&E in California is liable for 1.9 billion fine right now. So we built this central platform for infrastructure inspections, and there are 3 components to it. The first component is that we build the tools to capture clean data from multiple sources. So we are now able to deal with smartphones pictures, helicopters, drones, and satellite data. And we strongly believe in drones, so we've built an automatic 3D navigation software to fly the drone automatically around complex assets, such as distribution, transmission grid, wind turbines, and also, since recently, cooling towers. So the second component to our mission is that, actually we organize data with one standard model. What does it mean? It means that if you work with 100 utility companies in the world, they will have 100 ways of modeling the reality. For example, you see in my picture, I have an insulator behind me. If I break this insulator, some utility companies are going to call that broken insulator. Some other are going to call that missing insulator. Some other utility are going to call that no problem. And so having one unique representation of the reality allow us dealing with multiple defect referential and also to scale artificial intelligence, because we don't have to train again and again our AI for every single customer. And that's really powerful. That's way faster to launch new countries, new customers. And the third and last component of our mission is to provide insightful analytics. Of course, thanks to this highly structured database that we're building right now in the Stelblue Cloud, we are able to provide multiple analytics, dashboard reporting for our customers in order they can better monitor their assets. And these 3 components of our mission, we are able to transform the industry with our API. So as a summary, you have here, we build the tools to capture clean data from multiple sources. We model disparate customer processes to organize data with one standard model. We build interfaces and tools to provide analytics, and we can connect all of this with our API. So we see more and more interactions with our customers that ask to build on Stelblue's shoulders, because we have this highly structured data set and they want to have some kind of mirror in their organization or to feed external systems like SAP, Esri, etc. We started with drone imagery, and our unique value proposition today is to provide one integrated solution from data capture and organization, and all of this around one single central platform. And of course, artificial intelligence is part of the whole product from 0 to 10, and it allows us to go 10 times faster than other tools. And we started with the energy market. So today we provide a software solution for the transmission grid, wind turbines, distribution grid, and cooling towers. And this is a $9 billion market opportunity. Yeah, so we have an amazing team. So we are 3 co-founders in the team. We are all aerospace engineers, all Airbus alumni. We also have a bunch of great engineers from top engineering school in Europe, and now so we are present in the US, in France, and in Portugal. Yeah, so this is the team, and I think the time is going to be up, but I will just conclude by our vision, which is to sync the real world with its digital twin. So it means we are able to give the difference between the theoretical model of the world, thanks to this modelization that we do, and we also provide the tools to fix the reality to match the theoretical model. So there is a game between these two worlds that we want to sync over time.
Thank you, Geoffrey. Thank you so much. All right, investors, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I have a question. So you describe your different markets, so also the market size of these different markets, and it's clear that the grid is that market is like 10 or 20 times bigger. So then, why would you also still focus on wind turbines and other infrastructures? Because that is a different type of data, different go-to-market, yeah, different AI learning. So why would you even still do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if you had asked me like 4 years ago, I would have told you maybe that's a mistake because we were too unfocused. And today we have gathered this amazing business domain expertise, this reputation in this field, and we are able to deliver, to provide an off-the-shelf solution that fits the market and really easily. So we continue serving these different applications, and also because our software solution is highly modular, highly flexible. 3 months ago, we have inspected the pyramid of the Louvre in Paris. That was just an exotic inspection, but that was also to show that our product, our technology could be applicable to any asset in the world. But of course, you're right. Transmission and distribution grid is a big market. It makes more than 50% of our revenue today. And it will still be a big part of Stellar Blu revenue stream for the coming years.
Great. I also have a question. I've seen similar solutions who offer the similar services to similar customers that you are targeting at. What is the key difference, or what differentiates your solution from the others? And can you also elaborate a little bit on your product development, how you guys are going to develop your product further to be able to expand your market?
Yeah, good question. So I think in the jury audience, we have an investor from SkySpecs, which is, for example, our competitors in the wind turbine space. But generally speaking, to give you our differentiation, the first point is that we are purely software. So it means we don't need any fancy drone to operate. You just need Stellar Blu app, which is in my hand, in my phone, and you can just fly automatically drones around complex infrastructures thanks to this. And this is also the gateway to the data processing, the Stellar Blu Cloud platform. The second point is that we have now a strong business domain expertise, which is highly valuable when we target a market. It's not just a Google Drive. It's a deeply integrated platform within customer business processes. And the last point, the last differentiation is a high level of modularity, of flexibility of the platform. We are dealing with really complex customers with really complex workflow that don't want to change their workflows. They just want to get it digitized. And this is a big insight that we got probably 12 months ago. And now we are able to modelize complex workflows of our customers to make sure it fits with their internal processes. And this is something I don't see in the market still. We still see a lot of big monoliths to fit not properly big, complex customer processes.
Does that also mean that you have to integrate your software with on-premise or legacy systems of your customer?
Sorry, can you repeat your question, Julia?
Yes, the fact that it integrates, does that mean you also have to integrate your customer, your software platform with on-premise or legacy systems of your customer each time you sign up a new customer?
No, it's getting better and better. I mean, I think big industrial customers are willing more and more to use SaaS platform as Sterblue and also for some other applications. So it's getting better and better in this regard. When I say we integrate, I mean that we are connected with Zapier, for example. So we can connect. You can receive a text message as soon as you get an alert on an infrastructure. We have Sterblue API and GraphQL. We have some highly flexible CSV files. So all of this enable our customer to integrate seamlessly with bigger software, other software. So
on average, what's the integration time for a new customer?
It's pretty streamlined. It's a couple of weeks maximum to be fully integrated and to work at scale with such customer.
Hey, thank you so
Can I
much,
ask
Geoffrey.
a question about the over time?
No, we're out of time. So keep your questions to the next startup, fortunately. Anyways, let's move forward. So R8 Tech, Imre Gustav, should be live and ready to start pitching.
Hear me now?
Hi, yes, we hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, wonderful. So I will start.
You go ahead.
Okay, hello. My name is Imre Gustav and I am a team member of R8 Technologies. R8 Technologies is a prop tech company with a headquarters in Estonia. We all are faced with several global and business challenges. High energy consumption is one of these. Also, buildings account for 40% of energy-related CO2 emissions. So only way to reduce CO2 emissions is to cut energy consumption. Actually, this is very easy. Just turn everything off and you are able to save even 100% of energy. But of course, all the people would escape from you because it would lose all the indoor comfort and health as well. So the main question is how to save energy and increase indoor comfort at the same time. R8 Technologies has a solution for that. I hereby share our client experience with you. This is a modern office building in Estonia, built 2 years ago. It has an advanced automation system, almost 3,000 controllable heating, ventilating and cooling components, and 50,000 data points. It is clear that no human operator can run this system the most optimal way, but R8 Technologies can. As a result, R8 Technologies was able to increase indoor comfort from 60% level to 90% level and save over 30% of total energy. Cutting over 200 tons of CO2 emissions in 4 months is a remarkable number also. All this without any investment nor additional hardware. And this is not the only case. Here, you can see a short list of some more satisfied clients. R8 Technologies software is integrated to over 600,000 square meters of commercial buildings already, shopping malls, office buildings, and hotels. How we do it? For the first step, we integrate our software with a building automation system remotely, according to the highest IT security standards. It doesn't matter what brand of building automation system you have, we are able to connect it in a secure way. Our solution is a cloud-based software. We use the data of building automation system to create valuable insights. Also, we use data to adjust settings to optimize comfort levels and energy usage. The more complex the building is, the better results we can achieve. By the way, during the first 4 months in the above-mentioned office building, R8 Digital Operator has made almost 680,000 adjustments in settings. Can you imagine? 680,000 adjustments. And the most important, all decisions of Digital Operator are made according to 3 main key performance indicators: energy efficiency, indoor comfort, and building's technical condition. With that, we are able to make sure your heating, ventilating, and cooling system is running as it should be. That's the most efficient way. It is also worth to mention that your building is secured even if there would happen a break in internet connection, server crash, or something similar. In this case, your building automation system takes the control over again. And everything is just like before R8 Technologies came, not so efficient. Always an interesting question is, where does the money come from? R8 Technologies earn from the value that we offer. If we cannot achieve value, no money for Ascent, goodbye. It is easy to remember about our technology's value. Remote setup without additional hardware, solution as a service, results-oriented pricing and money-back guarantee. Our business model has been developed to get the best out of the building. After the integration, we just listen to a building for a month to check if the technical systems function well. After that, we know exactly what is fine and what are the shortages, and then we will run. We will launch our autopilot to optimize our energy usage and report the results we have achieved on a monthly basis. We always save you more money than we earn from you. For the end, I would like to say some words about RA Technologies also. We were born in Estonia 3 years ago, and we are active across Europe. There are no geographical limitations for us. We have achieved a growing monthly recurring revenue and running a new €1 million investment round at the moment. Who are the people behind these numbers? There are 16 motivated talents in our team, including 4 founders of different experiences, skills and knowledges. This is a strong base for our unique solution and company development. There is nothing to wait for. Take a chance to lower your real estate portfolio operational costs and increase your sustainability. Contact us now. And here you can see our contact details. Don't miss the opportunity to be part of our technology story. Thank you for the attention. I'm finished.
Thank you, Imre. And now we are back to the studio.
Thank you. Very, very good presentation. Can you a little bit elaborate on what's the actual savings? So is it just the kind of adjusting the lights off and temperature off when people are not there, or ventilation lower, or is there some new tricks that's not available elsewhere?
No, actually, there are no new tricks. We just compare present data to the previous year's data, and also what is very important, we always normalize energy using data with degree and cooling days methodology. So with that, we just remove the weather impact, and we really compare apples with apples. So this is the secret.
Hi, great presentation. Question for you. How do you integrate with existing backnet systems? Or can you integrate with all kinds of different systems? What happens if there are no backnet systems in the buildings? If they're older buildings, for example?
So actually, we have developed our own APIs to integrate remotely with modern automation systems. If there is like no BMS or centralized HVAC management system in the building, in this case, of course, we are not able to help buildings. And also, as you asked, so if there are like very old models of BMS, we also check it every time, case by case. If the system is really old, then there are very often kind of connectivity issues, data transformation issues, and so in some cases also we try to avoid this kind of buildings. So actually, we divide buildings into A, B, and C. A is like a perfect remote connection for us. B, it needs some additional work, and C means that keep away.
Who do you usually sell to real estate value chain? And do those people mainly care about energy efficiency, or do you sell on other drivers?
Like I mentioned, there are like 3 main key performance indicators: energy efficiency, indoor comfort, and technical condition. Of course, indoor comfort is number 1 priority always. And also the rest comes after that. At the same time, if we charge our clients, energy efficiency seems to be the only way to invoice them. Because, for example, if we increase indoor comfort from, let's say, 70% level to 90% level, nobody is ready to pay for that. But energy efficiency is very easy to understand to everybody.
But who is your client? Is that the facility manager or the building owner or operator or user?
Our clients are building owners and building managers. Facility management companies are like our partners. So we give them a good tool to make their job better. But anyway, building managers and owners are the clients.
Yeah, it was a great presentation. My question is, Do you also have any hardware associated with your solution? And what is the most comfortable?
We don't have any additional hardware. We fully use existing infrastructure. And of course, in some cases, we just give recommendations. For example, to offer better indoor comfort, we recommend to add maybe some CO2 sensors or something like that. But this is very rare. So our logic is that every real estate owner has made huge investment already to their building, to BMS system. And we just should be able, and actually we are able, to use existing infrastructure, and we don't need anything else.
Do you actually control the building, or do you just give those data back to your customers and they control?
We control HVAC system. So this is like maybe the main difference of many smart building solutions, that there are hundreds of companies analyzing, giving like advice or consulting, but we really take the role of operator. So we practically remove people from operating HVAC systems and replace it with artificial intelligence.
Then what is the period for the customers in average?
Sorry?
What is the payback period for your customers in average?
So actually clients start saving money from the day one. So there is not even like a typical payback time, because it doesn't require any investment from our clients. So after the end of each month, we just invoice them, and invoices are always smaller than energy savings.
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you all. We are out of time and we are moving down to our last contestant. So a startup called SunExchange. SunExchange comes all the way down from the South Africa and will be represented by their CEO, Abe Cambridge. Abe, are you with us?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. So your time starts now.
Fantastic.
Use it wisely.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Abe Cambridge, CEO of SunExchange, and our mission is to connect the world to the sun. And our vision is where every person on Earth owns enough solar panels to offset their own energy consumption. And we've built the platform to do it. Owning a solar panel can earn you a financial yield of between 10 and 15%, but many people around the world can't own solar panels because they live in apartments without a roof, or cannot afford the whole price tag of buying a own solar facility. Now, at the same time, solar energy costs have come down so much that businesses around the world can actually cut their energy costs by at least 25% by switching to solar. But many businesses, particularly in emerging markets, don't want to use their own capital to put a solar plant on their roof. So that's what the SunExchange solution is here to do, is to deliver zero cost solar energy access to businesses in emerging markets, whilst enabling individuals around the world to own solar panels and make income from them. So as you can imagine, we've broken down a solar plant on the roof of, for example, a school or a business or a library in a sunny country like South Africa, and individuals can purchase those solar panels on the roof and lease those solar panels on a micro basis to the school. This is peer-to-peer solar panel micro leasing. So you go to the sunexchange.com, you buy your solar panel, and through your SunExchange dashboard, you earn income by the kilowatt hour, all tracked. Now, the consumers of electricity are in sunny emerging markets. We started in South Africa, where there's a shortfall of energy on the grid, but also one of the highest solar radiation yields on the planet. The actual addressable market is specifically the commercial industrial energy sector, which is around 31 terawatt hours of electricity a year in the C&I sector. So even at 12 megawatts of installed solar power generation by August, that gives us a market share of 0.17%. And with our target of 250 megawatts to deploy by 2025, gives us a 2.5% market share of the African C&I market. The people buying the solar panels through our platform are all over the world. They're people who are looking to purchase solar panels in increments of less than $10 per cell. That's really the level of resolution we've got solar panel ownership down to, is a cell at less than $10. People use the panels are millennials, impact investors, fossil fuel divestors, anybody looking for a passive form of income derived from solar energy with a yield of greater than 10% into one rate of return. Globally now, there's actually $7 trillion pledged to be moved into solar. So it's really just a matter of getting that money to find projects to invest into. So here's how it works. You go to sunexchange.com, you find a solar project that you wish to solar power. In this instance, in the demo, solar powering a girls' high school in Cape Town. You click on the project, you choose how many solar cells you wish to have installed into that project, and you make a purchase. You can make a purchase with credit card, with bank transfer, or with cryptocurrency. And once it's installed, your Sun Exchange dashboard tracks the kilowatt hour production of your solar cells, and you also earn your income. You can choose to earn in cryptocurrency, or you can earn in South African rand, and we're soon be enabling people to earn in US dollars as well. This dashboard also shows you the electricity production on your individual solar cells against forecast. And actually, we have also now introduced, you can track the CO2 reductions you're creating from this platform. Bear in mind that South Africa is one of the most carbon intensive grids in the world. You're actually offsetting 1 kilogram of carbon dioxide for every kilowatt hour of energy produced. So this is a fantastic way for people to offset their carbon emissions and make it very traceable and transparent. Today, we've actually deployed 2 megawatts of solar cells installed now and operating. We've got about 17,000 people around the world using the platform. We've now produced 2.5 gigawatt hours of solar electricity through Sun Exchange. We've raised $4.4 million of capital to get the company to where we are now. And we've got $100 million worth of solar projects in the pipeline waiting to launch. Since the company started in 2016, we've been growing exponentially. In December 2018, we had done 7 solar projects. December of 2019, we have 19. And already in Q3 of 2020, we're now up to 34 solar projects completed, which is about 3.12 megawatts of solar cells sold through the platform. Just an example of the kind of project we do. This is a college in Johannesburg. That was 25,000 cells purchased by 300 individuals, 117 kilowatts. That's been operating now for a couple of years. The people using the platform are very global. A lot of people in Africa are using the platform, but this is also a platform designed for the developed world to power the developing world. So there's a lot of Europeans, people in the United States and Australasia using Sun Exchange to generate solar electricity and earn money. We've had investors from both the cryptocurrency space and also from impact investors. And our executive team is made up of a solid team of people from software engineering, financial engineering, and solar project engineering. We've got a solid tech team all based out here in Cape Town. We've got a solid community and marketing team also based here in Cape Town. We are now going through a Series B capital raise. We've got a capital raise of $7 to $10 million that's going to our Delaware Inc. company with a pre-money valuation of $30 million.
Thank you.
Check us out on any of
That's gonna be it. Thank you.
And please sign up to Sun Exchange. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, there's a lot of feedback. I couldn't hear what you said. I was hearing my voice come back to me through.
Yes, you probably didn't hear that I said that it's time.
Yeah.
Okay, investors, please go ahead.
Thanks for a very good presentation. So are you installing the panels yourself, or so you're physically doing the projects in South Africa at the moment?
Yeah, we're a marketplace, so we don't actually do any physical installing. We get approached by solar installation companies who wish to install for us. Those same installation companies bring us projects that they want to bring a finance solution to their customers. And likewise, when projects come to us to get solar powered, we find a solar panel installation company to them. So that's how we're scaling so fast, because we're not limited by our ability to install. We just get more installation companies involved and help those companies scale up by bringing them deals.
And then the second question would be that who kind of verifies the technology and gives some lifetime guarantees of the panels?
Yeah, so we're ultimately the management agent of the solar panels. So we've engineers on team who do the ongoing monitoring of the solar plants, the rule interface with our dashboard. We can see weather from forecasts. We've got fully integrated IoT devices on all our solar facilities. And like any solar plant, they're all under warranty and guaranteed by the solar manufacturers. If there is ever a fault with the solar plant, we're building up reserves for maintenance and operation costs. When we're deducting the lease payments from the energy consumer, we deduct about 20% from that, and that goes into a trust which is being held to look after the solar plants for the long term.
So you mentioned you have investors from all over the world, also outside of South Africa. So how do you get those retail investors? Does that mean you have to do a lot of B2C marketing?
Yeah, we've done a lot of PR. We've been around for 4 years. We get coverage on Forbes magazine, Green Tech Media, Clean Tech Nia. We've been on CNBC Africa several times. We've got a great story. People discover us. If you're to Google peer-to-peer leasing solar or solar crowdfunding, we'll be one of the first companies to come up. We've got a very global. We've now got registered users in 166 countries.
Good. I kind of have a similar question to Julia.
Sorry, go ahead. I guess I'll go. Who gets the tax benefits of these projects?
There aren't often tax benefits available. Don't forget, we're working in South Africa, where the South African government don't necessarily have the capital to incentivize people to go solar. So really, although there are some tax breaks, there's accelerated tax depreciation allowances, because those are really only reserved for South Africans. Anyone from outside South Africa can't access the benefit. But the IRRs that we advertise, they basically assume that there are no tax breaks being issued. So if people find that they can access a tax break for using our platform, then that's just additional bonus to them. But we do not pertain to be a financial advisor or a tax advisor, so it's up to our platform users to establish whether they can write off the capital expense of buying their solar panel against their tax bill.
Great. So if you are going,
it does belong to the it does belong to the solar owners. To give the short answer. No, sorry, you can carry on.
No problem. So if you're going international, I wanted to ask you about your strategy, expanding your market into different countries, because you are dealing with different policies and subsidies from the government, and also if you are able to support different languages in your app.
Yeah. Just for scaling internationally, we're actually just focusing on putting solar projects into South Africa and other countries in Southern Africa. We do have longer term aspirations putting solar projects in Latin America and Southeast Asia, because that's what our platform is designed for. But in terms of policy, this is all embedded generation with zero export limitation activated. So we're not exporting onto grids. This is 100% self-consumption solar power. And in almost every regime in the world, that's entirely permissible. Embedded generation is allowed without any generation permitting. So it's very fast to deploy. And neither are we relying on any subsidies. This model works beautifully without subsidy. So what was the final part of your question?
If you support different languages in your application.
Yeah. So this is a universal platform, and we do consider, I mean, maybe it's by bias, but we do consider English to be the universal language. So the platform is built in the English language. We've got no real desire to be translating it. Ultimately, the outputs from Sun Exchange are kilowatt hours and money. So those are also common like universal languages. So if people understand kilowatt hours and money, they'll be understand the Sun Exchange platform. Basically, this is a way for people to produce electricity digitally online with a click of a button.
Great.
Thank you.
But our leases are written in English in South Africa, and they'll be written in English in the other countries that we deploy the solar plants into.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Abe. Thank you for elaborating on the question. Anyways, so this pretty much wraps up our contestants' top 5 finalists for digitalization category. I believe the jury has all the information they need to cast their votes, and the finalists for this category will be announced this Friday at the closing ceremony of Energy Tech Summit. So stay tuned for that. Another quick thing. So basically, what we have also some poll information coming in. So I can assure you that 2 startups already have a small victory of their own, and it's Flexi DAO and StirBlue, who are sharing the audience favorite voice. So congratulations. So now we are moving on with our agenda of today. So next, I would like to introduce the last panel of the day, where our guest speakers will discuss the relationship between software and the energy world. Where are we now and what's next for it? So basically, the panel will be led by Thomas Kemptes, who is the partner at Contrarian Ventures, and will be joined by already known people, Julia Padberg and Hee-Sak Jung. Both of them were on the judges panel as well. And alongside Julia and Hee-Sak, we'll be joined by Danny Cutter, who is the principal at the Vestley Group. So Julia, Hee-Sak, and Danny, are you with us today? Because Thomas definitely is. He's right by my side.
Here.
Yeah,
Hey,
we're
guys.
here.
Thanks, Maria. Fantastic to be here. Fantastic to see familiar faces. I'm happy to close down the second day again, as I did yesterday with this half-an-hour discussion with extraordinary bunch of panelists. I want to introduce super quickly. We got Julia, He, and Danny from SET, Vestley Group, and SK Group, SK Gas. Apologies. And today we're gonna touch upon an interesting topic. I'm very excited for this discussion. Called "Is Software Eating the Energy World?" What's now? What's happening now? And what's next? We really took the saying from Marc Andreessen, a famous A16Z founder of the very well-known venture firm, and from really an essay he wrote back in 2011 that was posted in the Wall Street Journal, went absolutely viral. People loved it, and they keep using the phrase up until these days. You know, the world was different in 2011 when he wrote that piece. I checked out some of the stats around it. Apple was one of the largest companies, but its PE multiple was 15 times. It's more than 35 these days. There was definitely no Robinhood craze about tech stocks. Actually, stock market wasn't showing that much love for tech stocks back in the day as it is now. Clearly, things have changed. I think we're living in more interesting times in 2020. But software is definitely driving the energy world, and in many different ways. I want to kick off without any introductions, but just want to ask you guys all separately to tell the listeners the investment focus of the firm you're representing, and whether that focus, I'm talking about the industries or sub-industries you guys investing in, really whether you focus on software-centric businesses, hardware-centric businesses, or a hybrid and a mixture of both. So I want to start from the top with Julia.
Yeah, thanks, Thomas. So, SET Ventures is the Amsterdam-based venture fund that has invested since 2007 in European technology companies that impact the future of energy. And our current fund, SET Fund 3, of 100 million euros, we invest in ventures that shape the energy system transition through smart software and service-based business models. So for us, it's okay if they also have a hardware component, as long as it's a smart, asset-light, and software-enabled business model.
Okay. He, what about you?
Yeah, SK first. Not many people know about us because we don't make consumer products like our competitors, but SK is the second largest company from Korea. Our annual revenue is about $200 billion, and we focus here in Silicon Valley for investing into clean tech, construction tech, and property tech. And just like what Julia said, we like to make things smarter from the traditional assets. So it could involve a little bit of hardware, but we are also seeking for software asset-light solutions.
Okay. Danny?
Yeah, and for us, we started investing in 2007 in sort of the clean tech 1.0 world out of our first fund, and similar to a lot of other investors, have evolved this thesis over time. So today, we mostly look at software, so low marginal cost, easy ability to scale, path towards sort of mass adoption, but do look at hardware still in sort of certain constructs. So if it's a capital intense first factory risk, we won't look at it. But if it's strong unit economics, easy to low marginal cost to scale, we still will look at hardware deals. We have a couple. We have a robotics company in our portfolio that fits that overall thesis as well. So mostly software, but we do look at hardware with strong unit economics.
Okay, cool. I love it that you mentioned Cleantech 1.0, Danny. So I'll stay with you for this. A lot has changed since late 2000s boom and bust of Cleantech 1.0. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone said it's, the likes of Kleiner Perkins, bunch of people, London Climate started raising huge funds, invested a bunch of money, expecting huge returns. Everyone said this time is different. Now the climate is the thing that we can make tons of money. It's all venture scalable. It wasn't all busted with the bigger financial crisis, sort of people really sobered up a little bit. And when we see Cleantech 2.0, maybe not everyone loves this sort of name because it resembles the 1.0, but people say, this time is different, famously or infamously, we'll see. Danny, what's different this time from the last time? And are there actually enough startups where VCs can really return the money to the LPs and which are venture scalable?
Yeah, it's a great question and one that we tackle quite a bit. So, is this time different? It's yet to be seen. I think the question of is this time different will be determined by massive success stories in the context of Cleantech 2.0, and we're not there yet. We're sort of in the early innings. But from an investor landscape, I think a lot of people have gotten a lot smarter on how to think about clean technologies and clean tech, and I think part of that's just what you've heard in how we think about our thesis, the three of us as investors. 1.0 was a time of taking a lot of risk on scale and capital, right? So we had a lot of investments in frankly benchtop scale science experiments that were needing billions of dollars to get up to kind of true commercial scale, and we saw sort of the outcome here. Today, I think investors in clean tech are also looking at software, and part of what we're thinking about, and all of the the software companies that we look at today recognize the failures of Cleantech 1.0 and have built out their companies to avoid that. So, strong unit economics, as I mentioned from day one, is a necessity and table stakes for companies to get involved. Understanding kind of how to be really efficient with capital and not raise a $50 million Series A, but really think about sort of what are the milestones for scale. And so, it's yet to be determined if Cleantech 2.0 is different, but I'm a believer that it is, and I think we have never seen as many companies as we're seeing today in the spaces that we're looking at. So that's a great sign.
Okay. He or Julia, would you like to add anything on this?
Yeah. Sure.
Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to say that for us, it's the same. So we saw from our vintage year of the first fund, 2007, that actually most of the clean tech funds have unfortunately failed. And we believe that the only reason that our set fund 1 has succeeded is that we also made a few software investments, which actually made a very positive return. And that's the reason why also in our second and third fund, we really focused on smart solutions. So we believe that hardware typically is more difficult for 10-year financial VCs because of capital intensity, time to market, and competition from lower cost geographies. And that's also what a lot of software technology companies are realizing. So we do see in the beginning of Set Ventures, we saw about 10% of our deal flow being smart solutions, and now it's almost 70%. So that also shows a big shift in the landscape. A lot of enabling technologies where software startups have real opportunities to disrupt the market.
Yeah, for SK, I think I'm the only strategic investor from this group. And during the Cleantech 1.0, we were not interested, to be honest. And SK is the largest oil and gas company in Asia. And we used to have the largest refinery complex in the world. But now we are so interested in Cleantech 2.0 because we now need to transform our company from an oil and gas into an energy company using all the clean tech technologies. And we are determined to transition from an oil and gas company. So it is definitely different for us. And we are looking into even a little bit of hardware solutions because we need to get rid of all those fossil fuel oriented assets, which are going to be stranded pretty soon. And the biggest problem or the concern that we have is what are we going to do with that 10,000 gas stations in Korea? So for Cleantech 2.0, for us, definitely different, new game.
Okay.
And that just to jump on that, that's a really important distinction, what he's saying here, because a lot of sort of, our 2007 fund in Cleantech 1.0, we were trying to push technologies onto the customers, right? And today, we're getting pulled towards these end consumers and folks like SK Gas. And so that is a really important distinction, and I think why 2.0 is different.
Okay, cool. I want to move to the actual innovations, what you guys think about on sort of everyday kind of basis. Talking about the software and the whole digitalization platforms and everything's going on in that world. What do you think about when someone says sort of the breakthroughs in the digitalization and the software when you talk energy or when you talk mobility? What comes to your head? What's the most important breakthroughs? Are we talking virtual power plants, distributed energy resources? We're talking more of sort of autonomous vehicle and stuff, vehicle to grid stuff. What's the most interesting now? And what's sort of working now really is the first part of the question.
I can go first just really quickly. Sure. I think the biggest, there's kind of three macro trends that we're investing behind. One is electrification and mobility. Two is rise of distributed generation. And three is obviously rise of autonomy. But for me, the fundamentally biggest opportunity and threat, frankly, is the electrification of mobility. And so from our side, we work a lot with electric utilities, electric and gas utilities, and, distributed generation for the longest time was the kind of biggest existential threat for the status quo of the grid. And so you couple that kind of massive change with the electrification of all things transportation and mobility related, that's a massive opportunity in the context of where the utilities are looking at. So, those two dynamics are really, really interesting and areas where we're pretty actively investing behind.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, the main digitization breakthrough in energy and mobility is really the ability to capture and analyze large quantities of data. Because this has initiated a lot of different business models, but it has also initiated a huge shift from selling electrons towards selling customized energy services. And also the API connections to different mobility and energy service providers and mobility modes, they all contribute to the democratization of the energy system, and that unlocks a lot of different new business models, which we look for and try to invest in.
Yeah, for a lot of the other strategic investors like myself, when we were all committed to do more of decarbonization and decentralization, the first thing that we had to do was to digitize. Because we didn't know how our assets were functioning, and we didn't know where they were, if we are producing too much carbon emissions. And so the first thing that we had to do was to digitize what we have, to be able to visualize where we are, so that we can deploy more decarbonization solutions and also be able to have decentralized assets. So when it comes to digitalization, I think this is the start of everything, where we are getting a lot of data, and data is a new fuel. And that enables all the other solutions to get to the next level.
I love it. I keep on hearing, I keep on using the data sort of is the new oil. This is great. And some things you mentioned, he is sort of really work on that, sort of digitalizing the world first to really understand it and then see what kind of solutions you apply then in an efficient, optimal way is great. We got examples of digital twin technologies. Sort of we thinking, when is that sort of going to be a second digital twin of the whole planet? So we can really decide, where do you press the buttons on which kind of most sensitive zones. a tough one. And the second part of the question is what we don't have yet in the software world, in the digitalized world, what someone is working on that you guys are super excited about. Again, maybe it's autonomous vehicle technology in 10 years' time and really all the data that's going to bring. I know it's not an easy one. It's really sort of me pushing you to be visionaries, but sort of what would you love to invest now if it was available?
Well, there are a lot of individual technologies, hardware and software. In hardware, for example, the Hyperloop, which I think is great and very exciting. But in general, we're looking for solutions that I'm really interested in that drive the democratization of the energy system. So with decentralized generation and storage assets everywhere, and smart software layers that enable your trading in optimal and seamless modes of transport, everybody has an autonomous choice over their consumption. And this allows clean and efficient solutions to win from the monopolistic incumbents that we have now very often. And this is where the energy system is going because of software. So this is something I'm very excited about. I see lots of opportunities in this space.
Okay.
I will add a little bit there too, because SK contributes about 18% of national GDP. And what we do is very important for Korean society. And where we like to invest more, number one, we make PP and PE, which makes plastics. Don't get rid of them and be able to have recycled plants where we can recycle it all. So the plastic problem is very huge for us, and that's where we are going right now. And the second part is hydrogen. I think hydrogen could be a very good new source of energy, and it'll be electrification and hydrogen economy. So we are going into hydrogen. And at the end of the day, we want to be at decentralized assets within the society so that we can actually do P2P trading between the people. And I think that's going to be a very daily activities between the neighbors, and they're able to trade energy. I think that's going to change the game. So those are the three areas that I am treating towards for the future investments.
So he just follow up on the hydrogen point, obviously potentially super valuable and big piece of clean hydrogen, a big piece of energy mix. So when you invest in hydrogen, when you say I invest in hydrogen, you're talking pure sort of manufacturing hardware solutions, or again, this is more to a software centric approach to hydrogen that you guys put money in?
For the hydrogen startups right now, they do need the hardware first. Mm-hmm. We have to set up the plants to be able to capture more carbon and then put that into the blue hydrogen from gray hydrogen. So that's the first step we are taking, turning gray hydrogen into blue hydrogen. And of course, now we are also looking into green hydrogen. But we also need the government support. We are working with government, and we are also educating the government what kind of subsidies and policies that need to be set up so that we can also implement more of those new hydrogen economy solutions. And hardware is a key part for now, setting up certain plants. So we are going with it at the moment.
Okay, cool. I want to shift to Danny. His experienced investor also was with PG&E, if I'm not mistaken, for multiple years. So he knows the utility sphere very, very well. We've been thinking a lot and sort of seeing comparisons of the current world of energy transition, sort of incumbents versus insurgents, the challenger utilities. Like we've seen what's been happening in fintech world over the last 10 or so years with the big banks, HSBCs, JP Morgans, Morgan Stanleys, and then you got all the Revoluts and Monzos of the world really coming and taking a big piece and a very important piece and a growing piece everywhere, which kind of pushes the incumbents really to think through the strategy, maybe buy some of these startups or really invest in innovation and technology. How do you see that playing out in the energy and more sort of utility electron world, Danny?
Yeah, it's a great question, and something that's happening as we speak. So taking a step back, these challenger utilities are starting to really make waves. We see Octopus in the UK, we see Tibber in the Nordics, we see Arcadia and Inspire out in the US. So people are really paying attention to these digital first utilities, and looking backwards. For the longest time, energy utilities really provided two things to their customers. They provided electrons and gas molecules, and that was really it. They were delivering on a commodity. And today, I think a lot of consumers, as millennials have become the largest buying core in the world, are expecting more, and they're expecting other offerings, other menu items. Clean energy solutions, smart devices, demand response opportunities, gamification with the likes of OhmConnect. And that expectation has really, I think, put an opportunity in front of these digital utilities. And I think arguably one of the reasons why they have succeeded. And not just that, but for the longest time, these energy utilities would interact with their end consumers maybe 9 minutes a year. And today, through mobile first native applications, you can start to interact with your consumers more and more. So it's something that each and every one of our utilities in the US and I know in Europe and Asia are paying attention to, and are thinking about. So how do we play in this world of customer engagement, of mobile first, of more and more services. And so in my mind, I think we're still not at critical mass from the digital utility standpoint. A lot of the challengers have small market share. But over the coming years, if the incumbents don't change and don't evolve, we could see that switch. And so we're paying close attention. But I think in my mind, there's really two big areas where this battleground is happening. One is on customer engagement, and just getting those retention numbers up, getting those engagement numbers up, getting those NPS scores up. And then two is menu of services, right? So not just offering molecules and electrons, but offering all these other things that we've talked about. Those are the two areas that I think are really interesting and open space for startups to come in and really make a difference.
Super interesting. We actually had a great discussion a few hours ago between the guys from Eliq that we just announced investment with Inven, Ovo, Octopus. Someone was saying you finally start seeing folks taking screenshots of their energy bills and the savings and posting it on Twitter, and them being excited about it, and then having someone commenting being very excited about the bill. No one could have imagined 10 years ago this was happening, but we clearly see the digitalization really enabling this and making the energy assumption so much more exciting, which is great, because people can, the more they think about it, the more conscious choices they can make. So I want to move to Julia. I know you've been thinking about this. You've been sort of delving into the challenger utilities like Ovo, Octopus, Bulb, and everyone sort of serving them. Do you think they are a big threat, as big as a threat that they can make some of the incumbents bankrupt? We've seen a bunch of bankruptcies in the UK, the most liberalized market probably in Europe this year. Some smaller ones going bust. Challengers buying users from them. But what's your take on that? Or do you think the utilities are smart enough to really sort of innovate to keep up?
Yeah, no, for sure they are a big threat. And I think the strength of most of them is that they actually realize that energy is not super interesting to consumers. So I think that the example that you mentioned of people posting their energy bill on Twitter, that is really an exception, and I think it will be also in future. So even though people are getting more engaged with their utilities, especially those new challenger utilities, that is not because people are getting more interested in their energy consumption, but it's because those challenger utilities are engaging on different levels. So they are using energy as basically the Trojan horse or entry point for a smart home applications or other home automation applications or other use cases basically that have energy as an enabler, but not as the end goal. So that is a big trend that we see, that those kind of smart business models that around energy but not focused on energy. And the other trend that we see is is different competition, like Zonnen, one of the companies that we sold together with a bunch of other VCs to Shell. They just sell assets, so a battery and that connects with solar panels, and then people can become part of the Zonnen community, trade energy with each other, and then don't need an energy utility at all anymore. So this is another major trend, that people are becoming autonomous, self-sufficient in energy use and don't need an energy utility. So those are two big things that the traditional energy incumbents have to watch out for.
Okay, very interesting. Look, I wanna move to maybe slightly controversial question. I'll start again coming back to hardware versus software. And do you guys think, given so many of our fellow VC co-investors saying, look, this time is different. We're going to make money to our LPs because we invest in software-focused businesses. Often, I'm not saying all the time, but often folks will see hardware components, say, okay, no, I don't care what kind of innovation this is, but we cannot invest in this. We promised our LPs to not invest in this. Do you think that sort of pushing that software-centric approach could potentially be embedding innovation and really move to the carbon neutral planet? Because obviously on the other side you got folks like Breakthrough Energy Ventures, which are going to take crazy bets, going to invest tens of millions into nuclear fusion, sort of being pushed by Bill Gates, and can wait tens of years for this. Don't care about the 10-year fund term. Any thoughts?
It's sooner.
Sorry, Julia. Go ahead.
Well, nuclear fusion will be here a lot faster than you think. So
okay.
We've also invested in that, but we really strongly believe in that. And in general, basically, to your question, obviously software alone is not enough to drive this transition. It's super important that we have a base load, that we have very efficient batteries and renewable generation assets. So that definitely also needs to happen. Question is if financial VCs should be the ones doing that with a 10-year lifetime and limited funds.
Right. So probably what you're saying is there should be, and probably maybe there is enough money coming from governments, European sort of institutions or interested bodies that are pushing.
Big oil and gas companies, big pension funds with a longer lifetime or more patient money at least. There should a lot of money should go into clean tech hardware still. It's super important.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I can add a little bit there because we also invested into a fuel cell company here in Silicon Valley with Kleiner Perkins, and hardware investment is compared to software, it's harder because you need to wait a longer time and you need to fund them more in terms of monetary value. And when it comes to hardware, the key component to be successful is the mass production. Can you mass produce it at the end of the day so that you can increase the volume and lower the cost? And in order for you to do that, you actually need a lot of strategic investors' support, where we are able to provide the test beds and we are able to take them through the process of growing the company to get to the mass production, because we are very good at mass production. So I think people are tilting towards software, especially from the VC side, because it takes shorter time and it could be a little bit faster in terms of exit compared to the hardware investments.
Okay, cool. Guys,
yeah, and I would add just the overarching point here, is I think there has been some pretty good progress on sort of access to capital for hardware and hard tech investing, but there could be more. And it is a very unique type of institutional investor or large pension fund or high net worth individual. It is a very specific type of investor that has that patience and that willingness to invest in areas. And while I think we've done a lot of good work in access to capital for sort of these large capital heavy deployments, there could be more. And so I think over the next 10 years, I would like to see more breakthrough energy ventures, more types of investors that are comfortable taking those bigger bets with longer time horizons, because ultimately, this is the biggest existential crisis for humankind in the world.
Yep.
Very wise words. Love it, Danny. Thanks. We got a couple of minutes. People love predictions, so I'm gonna put you on the pedestal there. If we think about other sort of generalist financial VCs, we think how sort of mature the marketplace or e-commerce platforms are, how much M&A is there, or enterprise software, sort of you name it. We keep on having exits in the mobility space, in the energy tech space. Obviously, Zonen's been mentioned in every single panel that's talking about energy investments. We got more stuff going on in the mobility space, probably with the Movit acquisition of $1 billion and so on. But still, at least for me personally, or for us as a fund, doesn't feel like this is the year that everyone's talking about it. Everyone understood that VCs can make money. It's all the LPs all over the place. Definitely, we've seen a lot of money coming into this space with, especially big corporates, Amazon's $2 billion climate pledge fund. We've seen Chris Sacca coming in with lower carbon capital. A lot of it is happening, but I guess it's easy to sort of lose yourself when you live in a bubble and you see only all those news. I think in a sort of wider audience, maybe it's not that apparent. Can you guys give me sort of your prediction on a year that, more people will start talking about it, when more of those exits will happen, more of the VCs, those kind of energy tech, our type of VCs will say, look, I made tons of money on these because we exited 5 great companies. And when do you think it's going to be very mature? Julia, we'll start with you if you don't mind.
Well, definitely in the next 5 to 10 years when we have our set fund 3. No, we also in our set fund 1 and 2, especially, we have some very good energy tech companies, particularly software companies, that we have very high hopes for, and we do see an increased acquisition appetite, also in the mobility space, but also in the energy space. Not necessarily from the energy utilities, who are still, with a few exceptions here and there, but who are generally still slow. But we see a big appetite from oil and gas companies, car OEMs, alternative players that are now entering this energy system and that want to buy into the winning scale-ups.
Cool, thank you. He?
For us, what we are betting on is humanless operations. So we are going for autonomous AI solutions that will get rid of those small nitty-gritty mistakes that people make at the plants, and we are trying to base that upon the edge computing so that we can have the autonomous management of everything, and that's what we are betting for.
Okay, thank you. Danny?
And from my side, I think some of the largest asset owners, asset managers, and institutional investors in the world with hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars of AUM have systematically been overexposed to climate risk. And I think that there is happening now a reallocation of their portfolio into areas in which that we're investing in today. So within 5, 6, 7 years, I really do think all it takes is a few really big winners like a Tesla in this sort of vintage to draw tremendous access to capital and more interest in the areas that we're investing in, and it is happening now. I think we're sort of 1 or 2 big exits away from it really starting to accelerate.
Yep, exactly. Success stories always help. Cool, guys. We actually been running over time. Really appreciate your time with us. Fantastic to get your inputs, and Julia, Danny, can't thank you enough. Really appreciate it. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And I really love how Danny there decided to join from his bedroom. So that's chic. Anyways, this pretty much actually wraps up our agenda for today. Yes, indeed, we are done with day 2 at the Energy Tech Summit. But as I'm here always to give you something to look forward to, it's my pleasure to say that we'll be here still tomorrow, 10 a.m. CET sharp. And tomorrow we're going to focus on e-mobility and hydrogen. But of course, the platform is still opened, nevertheless. So enjoy those bookings on one-on-ones. Please feel free to network and visit our booths. And I'll see you tomorrow.
The times we live in are electric, and energy no longer fits into the shape of a light bulb. Not only do we use it, we make it. We recharge our everyday life with it. Therefore, we expect more from it than ever. We want it to be green and trustworthy, powerful, yet safe. Our task is not only to make sure it works, but to make sure every day it works better, smarter, more conveniently. Ignitus, an international energy group, making the world energy smart.
Tai, ką pasaulis darė paskutinį šimtmetį su naftos produktais, juos degindamas, tai yra visiškai nedovanotina. Jaunystėje buvau vienas iš žalių judėjimo pradininkų ir po to, kai taip susiklostė aplinkybės ir pradėjau savo verslą, tai visi sprendimai verslo ir paieškos buvo surasti naudą gamtai ir be abejo ekonominė logika.
Dancer išskirtinumas yra lengvumas. Lengvumą mes pasiekėme naudodami kompozitinės medžiagas. Šis autobusas sveria 2 kartus mažiau nei tie autobusai, kurie važinėja gatvėse, varomi konvenciniu kuru. Dvigubai lengvesnis autobusas leidžia mums pasiekti dvigubai mažesnės energijos vartojamos sąnaudas. Taigi miestas šiuo atveju laimi tikrai labai daug, gatvėse mažiau provėžų, sunaudojama mažiau energijos, sutaupoma daugiau pinigų.
Dancer monitoringo sistema, kuri leidžia stebėti autobuso parametrus nuotoliniu būdu. Panašiai kaip lėktuvo juodoji dėžė, jinai įrašo visus duomenis ir leidžia anksčiau laiko nustatyti galimus gedimus.
Autobuse yra įdiegta greito krovimo sistema. Baterija pasikrauna per 6 minutes. Būtent per tą laiką, kol autobusas kraunasi, vairuotojas spės atsigerti kavos, pailsėti, kol pasiruoš sekančiam maršrutui.
Dancer and Dancer Leasing developed a concept, we call it the Don't Worry package, where we take care of the financing and the leasing of the buses. We take care of the maintenance of the buses, plus we are 100% CO2 free because the buses which are produced here in Klaipėda in our enterprise, these buses will be supplied by Dancer Leasing with 100% clean CO2 neutral energy.
Mūsų autobusas, mūsų siūlymas visuomeniai, tai yra šokis. Tai yra gaivus oras. Tai yra nedidelės sąnaudos, skaitykim, tai yra grįžimas atgal į viešąjį transportą. Tai yra daug. Ir tai yra nuostabus šokis.
Renewable energies will lead to a change that will have a huge impact on our future. What might look simple on the outside is only possible with a reliable and secure power grid. The energy transition makes grid planning and operation increasingly complex, and Velio supports grid operators to meet this challenge. The Intelligent Grid Platform is a software assistance system that digitizes technical grid planning and operation processes. It provides multiple applications in 3 main areas. In the area of data quality, a complete digital twin of the entire grid is developed. With this model, typical grid planning processes can be automated, such as connection impact analyses for new generators or consumers. In the area of grid operation, live measurement data is integrated in order to identify grid bottlenecks in real time. Processes that used to be very time-consuming can be completed in minutes. Renewable generators and charging points for electric vehicles can be integrated faster and with less costs. This does not only benefit the climate, but also our society, as the energy transition remains affordable. Envelio, digital transformation of electricity grids.
Wait, what, sorry?
Vilnius.
Vilnius. It's,
Vilnius.
Which one?
Vilnius. It's Austria.
Welcome to Vilnius, Austria, the undiscovered jewel of the Alps. Vilnius is characterized by having most of its landmarks just a few minutes away from each other by foot. This admirable city is in the heart of Austria.
Vilnius? In Italy?
In the heart of Italy, being its most well-kept secret. Its effervescent streets and colorful markets make it a perfect destination for any traveler. For obvious reasons, Vilnius is the pride of Italy. I mean, the pride of Finland. Vilnius's old town, considered one of the biggest in the region, is crowned by the majestic Gedimino Tower, where travelers like this young fellow, hello there, buddy, can have the same view that the old ruler of Finland, the old ruler of Venezuela.
Sweden?
I mean, Sweden.
Belgium.
Oh, okay.
Ethiopia.
Of Ethiopia?
Romania.
What if I told you that Vilnius is the capital of Lithuania?
Oh, would never know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes!
Welcome to Vilnius, Lithuania.
The Netherlands is a small but resilient country. We have always been at the forefront of innovation. When faced with a challenge, we take it on to find answers and solutions that make the world a better place. From protecting ourselves against the seas to pioneering technologies such as Wi-Fi.
Over the last 10-15 years, we have produced remarkably successful companies within Europe, but even on a global level, it's quite exceptional. And if you then subsequently look at what's going on in Holland right now, I believe the future looks very bright for our country, so a lot to be proud of.
Technology may be the key to the future, but it's the people with great ideas that hold the key in their hands. The bright minds, the innovators, and the change makers. These people deserve our support to rise to today's challenges. We need to empower Dutch leaders and provide them with an ecosystem for innovation to ensure the Netherlands stays an innovation leader with a competitive and relevant economy in this rapidly changing world.
The Netherlands might look like a small country, but it's very important that we stay ahead of these developments instead of be the follower.
The entrepreneurial spirit that we find in the can-do attitude, the level of ambition in Holland is something I haven't seen in many other countries in Europe. So I think it's time to act, and it's time to act now.
We are TechLeap, We empower Dutch leaders with support when it comes to access to capital, talent, markets, and technology. We bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be.
I really believe that TechLeap can make a difference, and that's the reason also why myself and some of my colleagues have decided to spend some of our time really bring our experience to help some companies and some startups scale up in Holland and having the global impact that we've had with our own companies.
Together with the ecosystem, we help people with great ideas to reach their maximum potential in the world of today and in the world of tomorrow. TechLeap, empowering Dutch leaders in tech.